was actually the Ottoman. It was a symbol of the Ottoman Empire, the tulips, and they had a lot of variety of tulips. And when Western diplomats went to the Ottoman court, that's how they fell in love with tulips and got introduced to Europe. So the garden had four bordered avenues, and in the middle there was like a fountain, and the gardeners every day for those 12 days would collect the roses, and then they would put the roses in the middle of the tent of Baha'u'llah. And the reason why that garden was chosen is because it would happen to be en route to Constantinople. So to get to Constantinople, they would have had to cross the river anyway, the Tigris River, and get there. So the garden was on the way. And with Baha'u'llah, we know his sons went with him. So Abdul Baha, his eldest son, he was 18 years old. Mirza Mahdi, he was 14 years old. Mirza Muhammad Ali, he was 10 years old. And his amanuensis Akajan, and probably a few of the friends. They arrived at the garden at 4 o'clock. And we know that because the mu'adhin, who calls the adhan, the call to prayer, in the afternoon happened at that time. 3 o'clock standard time, I should say. It's hard to get, we're in daylight savings time. His family, after they finished the packing, they joined him on the 9th day. And the reason why they took so long is because the river levels rose, and they were crossing through a floating bridge. Now, a floating bridge, it's a really cool concept. They would have, so this is the river, one side to the other. They would have boats arranged, lined up all the way to the other side. And then once they have enough boats, they would roll, if you like, a rolling carpet of some sort, and then they would cross over. So the river levels had to calm down a little bit for them to be able to cross. But once he got to the garden had a palace, and so upstream from the palace there was open space, and the friends of Baha'u'llah raised his tent in there, and outside his tent there was the village of tents, in which there were the tents of the Holy Family and his followers. And we have a lot of memoirs, like from his cook, his barber, and there's a lot of interesting stories. One of them, it was very windy during those times, and they were so worried that his tent won't hold. So his companions would take turns sitting on the ropes, so they can keep the tents, keep them down. And on the way to the garden, I'm almost done with my story. On the way to the garden, there was a lot of commotion in the city, because in those 10 years, a lot of people loved him, and he was a big personality. So the streets were lined up with people, the rooftops were lined up with people, and a lot of his companions were saying, this is like the day of resurrection. They were lined up all the way when he got to the garden. Once he got to the garden, the officials came to pay their respect, and then once he departed, he adopted the use of the Taj on his head. His companions bought him an Arabian stallion for him to ride. And the guards, even though he was a prisoner, they were asked by the governor of Baghdad, who was very friendly towards Baha'u'llah, to treat him with respect. And all the way to Constantinople, they would, and then he sent ahead messages to all the governors asking them to receive Baha'u'llah and treat him with respect. So the guards, as they approached each city, they would beat on the drums, and then the people would come out, and then they would see this procession as they got through. I didn't mean to take so long to tell the story, but I just wanted to provide you a setting of how it was. So next.